All right. I am calling an audible this morning, right into football talk. And first of all, if you watched the game last night, let me talk to you from a perspective, or if you finished watching it at 4 this morning because you recorded it like I did. Let me share a couple things with you that I saw from a coaching perspective. The Philadelphia Eagles absolutely dominated that game. If you look at the stats, time of possession, total yards, especially in the first half, they were absolutely dominating the game. Now, the Kansas City Chiefs won because they made the best adjustments at halftime. They came out in the second half with much better defense. Sorry, guys. The Eagles outscored the Chiefs by 10 points in the first half. Chiefs outscored the Eagles by 13 points in the second half, all because of one thing. They made the best adjustments at halftime. Now, what does that have to do with you? Well, going back to our GROW model that we use, GROW, written vertically down the left side of a sheet of paper. G is grow. Goals, sorry. G is what are your goals? R is what is your reality? O is what are the obstacles? What do you need to remove in order to move closer to your goal? And W is the way forward. And you make adjustments by identifying the obstacles, having a plan or a way to move forward in order to get you closer to your goals. And simply, the Chiefs won because they did a better job of doing that at halftime. All right, now for today's conversation. I've had several of you reach out to me. I've had several of you reach out to me and ask me for different versions of the listing presentation. For those of you who have been a part of my 14-point listing presentation, you know that the time spent at the kitchen table can be maybe an hour, maybe longer. And I've had several people reach out to me and say, John, is there a shorter version of this? And the answer is yes. So I'm going to give you that shorter version today. 6 key points that I want you to write down. These are the bullet points that you're going to follow for this listing presentation. 1 is gratitude. 2 is expectations. 3 is marketing. 4 is pricing strategies. 6 is close. And here's what it's going to sound like. Always lead with gratitude. And I'm always going to pick somebody that's on my screen that has their camera on. So Corey, thank you for the opportunity to be here today. It is always an honor and a privilege to discuss the possibility of the Dietz team representing someone in the sale of their home. And whenever I meet with a potential seller, one of 3 things typically happens. One of those 3 things are going to happen today. Either number 1, they hire me, which is great. 2, they don't hire me, which isn't so great. And 3, I may choose to turn the opportunity down. Now, the reason I would choose to turn the opportunity down is if I feel that someone has a goal or an expectation that I cannot meet or exceed, I would rather turn the opportunity down today than let you down 6 months from now. Now, I have 3 major points that I want to discuss with you today. Your goals and expectations, my marketing in order to achieve your goals, and pricing strategy. And let's start with your goals and expectations. If you could give me 3 things that need to happen in the sale of your home for you to consider the experience a success, what would those 3 things be? Now, you have a notebook in your hand, a pen to take notes, and you're listening. And the 3 most common responses you're going to get are price, time, and smooth sale. In other words, it'll sound something like, I need to get my price, I need to sell my home quickly, and I don't want to have a lot of problems. I still want you to go 3 deep, even though this is a shorter version of the listing presentation. When you hear, I need to get my price, I need it to sell quickly, and I want to smooth transactions, I want you to respond with, okay, cool. We've got price, Sell quickly, smooth transaction. Tell me, what does the right price look like to you? 700,000. Got it. What would that do for you? It'd give me the money I need to buy a new home. Cool. Got it. What does a quick sale look like to you? I need a contract in 30 days. Why is that important? I'm moving to Atlanta for a new job. Got it. And smooth sale. I think we both understand that, so we can move on. Marketing. This is what I'm going to do in order to get your home sold, meet your goals, exceed your expectations, and help you get to Atlanta. And what you're going to do at this point is you're just going to bullet point, this is what I do to market your home, where it's going to be on the internet, how many different sites it's going to be on. If you have a mail campaign where you're sending out marketing materials to neighboring to homes, neighborhoods around the property that you're selling. If you are calling other real estate agents in order to let them know about the property you've just listed, to make sure the top agents in the market know their home is for sale. If you're making calls looking for a buyer for their property. Now, a couple of things that I would really focus on here in order to make you different is ask yourself, what does the right buyer for this home look like? Now, once you have the answer to that, how do I attract that buyer is the next question that I would ask. In other words, in my local market here in South Florida, if I'm selling a home in Parkland that prices between $700 and $750, the buyer for that home is probably a move up buyer that is moving from Coral Springs that lives in a neighborhood where homes are selling $500 to $550. And because I know that, I am going to target market those neighborhoods. I'm going to call those neighborhoods and I'm going to let them know, I'm cold calling, I'm circle prospecting, letting them know that I have a property for sale in Parkland. I'm going to tell them all the features and benefits that that home has to offer. And I'm going to ask, who do you know that might be looking to buy a home in the next couple months? When I am discussing another thing that I'm going to do that's really going to make me stand out is I am going to call anywhere from 50 to 80 buyers every single day looking for a buyer for their home. Now, how do I do that? If I'm sitting at a table and meeting with somebody, got a listing appointment that came from an expired call, I'm going to remind that homeowner, hey, Zach, remember when I called you? One of the questions I asked is, if your home would have sold, where were you moving to? Tell me what the next home looks like. And Mr. and Mrs. Seller, when I'm making these calls and I'm talking to someone, I could potentially be talking to someone who could be the right buyer for your home. The other thing I'm going to make sure that I point out here, really important, is 97% of the time, the buyer is going to be represented by another agent. Most homeowners think that you're going to bring the buyer. And you need to explain this to them so that you don't have an objection later on around why haven't you brought the buyer, or why didn't you bring the buyer? So I'm going to explain, when a buyer is looking to buy a home, they're a serious buyer, they're going to buy a home in the next 30 days. They have an agent that they're working with. And when they see my marketing, they're going to know about your home because of my marketing. They're not going to call me, because they already have an agent. They're going to call that agent. They're going to say, hey, I saw this great home in Parkland. I want to go see it. And then that agent is going to schedule an appointment, bring their buyer, write an offer, and your property went under contract. And it looks like I had absolutely nothing to do with the sale, when in reality, I'm the reason it's sold. All right. Lastly, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about a pricing strategy, and we're going to look at all the homes that have sold in your neighborhood that are comparable to yours, and we're going to look at your competition, and we're going to discuss what the right strategy is to get your home sold. We're also going to look at supply and demand in a couple different price ranges in order to determine what is the right price range to get your property under contract in the next 30 days so you can move to Atlanta in time to start your new job. For example, we might be, the best price range for us might be 725 to 750. And then again, it might be 750 to 775, but it's critically important that we find the right price range and we go fishing in that pond. Because if we fish in the wrong pond, we're not going to catch any fish. So we want to get into the right market in order to attract the right buyers versus the wrong buyers. And based on the information that I've showed you today, where do you think we should price your home? Seller says 745. Awesome. You ready to get started? Well, that's it. That's the entire listing presentation. Quick, to the point. When you need to have a quick listing presentation without eliminating their goals and expectations, super important that you include that. It's still a consultation. It's just a shorter version of a listing consultation when you need it. And for some of you, you might go, wow, I like that so much better. I think I'll use that all of the time. Totally cool with that, as long as it works. Now, when you ask, are you ready to get started? And you hear, not yet, or I don't know. I want you to ask one more question. So just out of curiosity, on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being you don't like a thing I said and you want me to leave, and 10 being I'm the right agent for the job, where are we? And when you hear 8 or 9, what would it take to make it a 10? What would it take for me to be a 10? What would it take for me to be the right agent for the job? Your commission's too high. Okay, so what I'm hearing is if I were willing to price your home at $745 and I was willing to lower my fee, you would hire me today. Yes. Got it. Now, can I share with you why that concerns me? You see, if I were willing to give away my money that I use like that, money that I use to support my family, how quickly would I give up your money when we have an offer on your home? And if you're asking me if my fee is negotiable, the answer is absolutely. When we have an offer on your home, if I need to give up money in order to make the deal work, I will, because I'm a deal maker, not a deal breaker. However, my fee is not negotiable today. If we put your home on the market at $745 and we got $755, have you made money or lost money by hiring me for 1% more than that limited service discount agent is going to charge, who's selling your home at 90% of the asking price in 120 days? Are you ready to get started? All right, I know you guys got some questions. Raise your hands, talk to me. Lots of them.
So John,
Hey,
sorry.
Sarah.
Hey, so I put it in the group chat. I just hope that everybody understands, like, the fact that you have it so internalized and you have mastered it. And I remember teaching how to win with sellers with you multiple times, which was such a pleasure because when you have it internalized, there's really no excuse to not even perfect the craft that you have. And it's like, where do you start? Because I know others are probably on this call thinking, wow, did he just run through an entire listing presentation by heart in 10 minutes? And the answer is yes. So it's what can you do to be able to master that? And you just reminded me, there are 2 objection handlers that you use that I need to go back to and write them out, recite them, and then role play them or record myself saying them. So I don't know if you want to share maybe where people can go and find where you have that, because I don't know if your Amazon book is still on or is it just YouTube?
Okay, thank you, Tara. And it's always great seeing you. Oh my goodness. I'm so glad that you're back on these calls. Guys, that's a rock star. For those of you who don't know Tara Carter, rock star. I could give you her resume, but it would take another 30 minutes, so I won't. Tara, so some of this is in Rainmaker. However, I am updating the Rainmaker playbook, which is extremely detailed, step-by-step, very deep scripts book on how to respond to different conversations you're having based on what your customer or client is saying And for everybody who's a part of Rainmaker Plus, I am sending out an updated version of that every week. The goal is, and I don't know how long it'll take, but the goal is it'll probably end up being somewhere around 50 or 60 pages. I'm already at 12. I just started this a week ago. So if you want a copy of Rainmaker Plus, Rainmaker Playbook, then join Rainmaker Plus and you'll get a copy of that every week. Thank you, Tara. Corey, you had your hand up. Talk to me.
I did, but I'm worried you answered it because I fell out of service. But I'll ask it. I was wondering, like, when do you see that it's appropriate to have a shortened listing presentation?
Good question. The answer could be a couple different examples. So you're meeting with a seller who's a really high disc profile, and they're a real high D, and they're like, I really just want to know, what do you think my home is worth and how much do you charge? Now, in that situation, I would say, I understand, and we'll get to that quickly. However, there are a few things that I need to talk to you about first. There's just a couple questions that I need to ask in order to make sure that I can meet your goals and exceed your expectations. And I promise you in the next 15 minutes, I'm going to get to, this is the price, this is what I charge. Now, the other example would be if you show up for a listing appointment and for some reason you're speaking with somebody who tells you, John, plans changed and I've only got 30 minutes. I'm sorry, but we only have 30 minutes today. No worries. I have a 15-minute version of this. Let's go. Or a 20-minute version. Let's go. So, Corey, it would just be, those are two examples of when you're going to use the shorter version of a listing presentation. Yeah. And for
Super
those
helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Glad you're here. Hope I'm not letting you down. And for those of you who are thinking, I like this is going to be my listing presentation every time, I'm going to caution you, because just like a high D would love this, a high S is going to feel like you just run them over with a freight train. It's not going to work for them. You've got to slow down. Your tonality has to change. It's, Corey, thank you for allowing me to come and visit with you today. It is an honor and a privilege to meet with a potential seller that is going to hire the Dietz team to represent them. Now, whenever I meet, tonality is different, pace is different. It's just a different conversation. High I, they're going to want to know where you bought your shirt. They're going to talk about your shoes. They're going to want to talk about your kids and your cat and your dog and, sorry, Tara, and everything else. And that's okay. You want to do that, but you always got to reel them back in and get back on course. All right, going to look at the chat. I don't see any other hands up. I know you guys got questions. Talk to me. All right. Love seeing you guys are buying my book on Amazon. That's cool.
Well, if no one's going to talk, John, I'll take the opportunity. I think that you nailed it in regards to that listing presentation, because it's the same thing. I think it goes back to like having an elevator script. I know you and I do interviews. So when if I have an interview or whether it's going to be with the person, or it's with Accolades, a podcast, whatever it is, or if you're going to be stuck in the elevator with somebody and you had with Gary Keller or Oprah or whoever's on your list, and you had 8 seconds, 10 seconds to be able to ask the one question you wanted to ask, or explain if they asked you, who are you? And you have to respond to that. It's knowing that disc profile. So having the presentation for each DISC, and then also knowing what your elevator pitch is. When somebody would ask you, who are you and what do you do for a living and how can you help them? What is your DISC version of that?
Tara, do me a favor, put yourself, I'm going to mute everybody just because there's some background noise. Take yourself off mute, come back. All right, well, I'm waiting for Tara to take himself off mute. Corey, your hand is up, so I'm coming back to you. Just an update. I put this on Facebook a little while ago. Some of you may have seen it, may not. I am teaching my 14-point listing presentation live. It's not Zoom, it's in person, March 20th. And I would love to have Tara there to be a co-teacher with me. She's got so much value to offer. I think that Tara and I make a great partnership in teaching this class. And if you haven't registered yet, it's on Facebook. Just search 14-point listing presentation and you'll find the invitation for this class. By the way, when I scheduled that for March 20th, I had not planned on moving back to Dunedin, Florida as quickly as I am moving back to Dunedin, Florida. So I may not be here, but I'm coming back to teach that class. So please register. All right, Corey, coming back to you.
Yes, I had the question of, oh my goodness, my brain this morning. What do you say? I've kind of been taught to do 3%. You know, my brokerage fee is 3%. You can do 2, 2.5, 3 to the other side for the buyer's agency. I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of pigeonholing, you know, putting myself in some sort of weird position and just wondering, how do you handle that? Do you say 6%? Like, how do you,
Yeah, that's a common question. And there are agents who do exactly what you're doing and they do it well. So I'm not saying that you shouldn't do that. However, I'll just tell you what I always did. So Corey, my fee is 6% to represent you. Meet your goals, exceed your expectations, get your home sold so you can move to Atlanta in time to start your new job.
beautiful, the easy.
Yeah, and I stopped, and just like I did, because in real life, that's what it looks like. Now, if they object, then now I'm going to bring in the conversation in reference to how the other agent is paid. So, for example, another response to, well, so-and-so is willing to list it for 5%, or I even had somebody willing to list it for 4%, is I understand. And when somebody asks me if I'm willing to negotiate my fee or lower my fee, I'm also hearing them ask how good of a negotiator I am. The good news for you is I'm a really good negotiator. Also, if somebody lists your home for 4%, they're going to pay a buyer's agent 2%. They're keeping 2%. Now, Corey, if you were the agent who had a buyer for your home, and there's 10 properties that fit your buyer's criteria, 9 of them are offering 3%, 1 is offering 2%. How excited are you about taking your buyer to that home that's offering 2%? You know, in actuality, when the market slows down, we want to raise the buyer's fee. If 9 are offering 3%, let's be the one that's offering 4%. And now we've really motivated agents to bring their buyer to your home.
Love that. That's so good.
Right. I don't see any more hands up, and I've got 8:57, so I guess that's a wrap. Hope you guys got great value today. Hope you got your price of what you paid for. Remember, it was free.
And hey, John, Bill Price, I have my hand up.
Oh my God, it's Bill Price. Talk to me, Bill.
I just want to point out to everyone on the call, I don't know their history. I've been selling real estate for 20 plus years, John, and I have over 20 people on my team. I have 4 people that are always pretty much on the call. And guess what, guys? Those 4 are my best agents.
There you go.
So John, I can't tell you, these guys, they come to your call, they absorb, right? They listen and they put into their practices. And we appreciate you so much. And I've seen so many coaches and trainers over the years, and we're actually truly blessed to have you part of our team now. So thank you.
Thank you, Bill. It means a lot to me. Yeah. Bill's a rock star. Oh my gosh.
No, John's the true rock star. I mean, I've never seen someone be able to come every day and bring it with such quality and so well spoken. We're just going to say you graduated from an Ivy League school somewhere.
Okay, for those of you who know me, I'm so glad this is recorded. Bill, I'm going to play just that part for my wife. She doesn't have to watch the rest, but she's going to watch that part. Told you so. All right, guys, it's time to get to work. So what is work? I'm going to give you the 60-second version. Work is 20 conversations. It's not 19. It's not 18. It's not 17. If you have 17 conversations and you stop at 17 because it's close enough, you didn't have the 18th conversation, which could have been $1 million listing that you didn't get simply because you didn't have the conversation. Or it's 10 conversation, or it's 5, whatever your standard is. Remember, it's not my standard. It's not my goals. It's your goals and your standards. My point is, have a standard. The standard means you do this, you get to keep your job. You don't do this, you're fired. Hit your standard. When you hit your standard over time, success shows up. All right, everybody, make it a great day.